There's a lot of reviews out there on the best liquid fertilizers for aquarium plants, but what about root tabs? Keep watching as I do a head-to-head comparison of API, Aquarium Co-Op, NilocG, and Seachem. Hi, I'm a gamer's wife here with practical tips on nanofish and planted tanks. And back when I started my 5-gallon planted betta tank, I really started getting more serious about rooted plants. Well, the problem is if you use an inert substrate like EcoComplete or sand, you're gonna need to infuse the roots with nutrients somehow. When I failed to do that, and you only trust, fish waste or liquid fertilizers, the plants ended up failing to thrive and dying. Not good. So the question becomes, which is the best root fertilizer? Around this time, API reached out to me about reviewing their products. And to be honest, I love their water test kit and medications, but really haven't used much else. So after perusing their extensive catalog, I ended up choosing, you guessed it, root tabs. But you know me, I can't just do any old blind product plug. Gotta put this thing to the test. So after they gave me this $9 packet of root tabs, of course I went out and ordered the Aquarium Co-Op Easy Root Tabs, NilocG's Thrive Caps, not sure if I'm saying the company name right, and Seachem's Flourish Tabs for a total of $48. Totally worth it in the name of science. I decided not to try the DIY root tab solutions like Osmocote because I've heard that if they get in the water column, you're gonna have huge ammonia spikes and it's nearly impossible to get rid of. So first off, we're going to take a look at the cost comparison of these 4 different products. And as you can see, these are the current prices listed on Amazon.com, all except for Aquarium Co-Op, which you can purchase on their website. And clearly, API and Seachem are the 2 most expensive products per tab. Although with Seachem, if you purchase the larger bag, where it's 40 tabs per package, then the cost does go down per tab. Here's a quick look at the form factor they came in. So Aquarium Co-Op and NilocG chose to go with gel capsules, versus API and Seachem have these more solid tablets. Next, let's take a look at the guaranteed analysis, which is basically a spreadsheet talking about all the different concentrations of nutrients that each of the root tabs contain, all except for Aquarium Co-Op, which doesn't list them. API chose to really concentrate on those macronutrients, so lots of nitrogen, phosphate, and then a bunch of iron as well, which is a micronutrient. NilocG, on the other hand, has both a lot of macro and micronutrients, but where they chose to put their heaviest concentrations are still the macros in the nitrogen, phosphate, potassium, and then some higher amounts of magnesium. And finally, we have Seachem Flourish Tabs, which, like NilocG, contain both macro and micronutrients. But if you look at the concentrations, Seachem really concentrated on putting high amounts of those micronutrients like calcium, sulfur, chlorine, and even sodium. So it'll be really interesting to see whether the first 3 root tabs, which probably all focused on macronutrients, have a difference in performance compared to Seachem focusing on micronutrients. All right, let's get to the actual experiment. So this was conducted in my 10-gallon shrimp breeding tank. The substrate I used was EcoComplete, which does come with its own nutrients. So I tried to rinse the substrate as much as possible beforehand using tap water. And then I filled up little small Tupperware containers, each with their own cup of EcoComplete. The plant of choice was broadleafed Ludwigia repens, so newly cut stems that did not have any roots at all. And then the lighting was the Stingray 2 that I previously reviewed. I placed it in the back half of the tank, had it on for 8 hours a day, split between 3 in the morning, 5 in the evening, and then I moved all the other existing plants to the front so that I'd have room for the little tubs of my experimental plants in the back. First, I planted the Ludwigia into each of the tubs, and then one of each type of root tab as deeply as possible in the substrate. That's when I discovered that I really don't like gel capsule form factors. They tend to float, they're very slippery to hold with my tweezers, and then they crush open easily, at least when I've tried planting them in sand and EcoComplete. The experiment was conducted for 1 month, where each week I did a 20% water change. I dosed water column fertilizers, so Aquarium Co-Op Easy Green and Seachem Flourish Advance, and then to make sure everybody got the same amount of PAR or lighting exposure, I did rotate the positions of the tubs in the back. 1 month later, here are the results. So Seachem Flourish tabs is the one on the very left, and you can see it had the tallest growth and the most number of healthy leaves, even at the bottom of the stem. I did have one extra piece of Lagwigia floating at the top, kind of as a control piece, and you can see it got lots of light, had lots of leaves, but they were kind of much smaller, and very few roots, of course, since it had no substrate. Seachem, API, and NilocG all grew healthy, thick white roots, but I have to disqualify Aquarium Co-Op because I don't know how this happened, but at some point it accidentally got pulled out and started growing long roots off of the middle of the stem, so it's really not an apples to apples comparison. So the winner out of these 4 is Seachem's Flourish tabs. They perform the best, which I have no idea how that happened, because they focused on these seemingly random micronutrients, versus the other companies really focused on macronutrients. Again, this was a small scale experiment. It could be totally different results if I had used a different plant, lighting, substrate, and even animals. It is more on the expensive side, but again, if you buy the 40 pack, it's not that bad. Plus, I like the solid form factor. It doesn't seem to melt or float away when inserting it in the substrate. Thank you so much to API for giving me these root tabs. You guys are the ones who inspired me to do this experiment in the first place. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, check out my other video on 5 things I wish I'd known about rooted plants. Also, let me know in the comments below what root tabs you prefer and why. Take time to enjoy your aquariums, and I'll see you in the next video.